right down the middle. You got it. Uh-oh. Good job.
Do what you can do, man.
Oh. Wait.
That's a strike right there.
Woo!
Connect with family and friends. Go bowling.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to Pensacola, Florida, home of the Snowball Derby, as tonight the Sandi Paws Rescue Street Stock Series rolls into town for round number 6 of the North-South Racing League Street Stocks, presented by Sandi Paws. And whether you're a dog lover or a cat lover, Sandi Paws Rescue is based out of Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, and a 100% volunteered run foster home-based animal rescue dedicated to saving the lives of abused, neglected, and unwanted dogs and cats. They provide safe shelter, medical care, rehabilitation, and loving forever homes for animals in need. Their mission is simple but powerful: to protect the quality of life and improve the well-being of abused, neglected, and unwanted companion animals. And they don't operate in a physical shelter like every other animal they help is placed in loving foster homes until they are ready for adoption. You want to give them a helping hand, it's Sandi Paws Rescue at sandipaws.org. You give them an email, sandipawsrescue@gmail.com. If you love racing and you love animals, join us in supporting an organization that's truly making a difference, one paw at a time. I'd also like to thank RC2 Promotions and Racing Graphics for all that they do for us, making it look great here each and every Monday night. Wizards Designs, the proud sponsor of our championship trophy. Wizards Designs can make your dream a reality. Want to look good on the racetrack? Austin Designs is the one place to go. Austin Designs can make your online car step out and look great while doing it. Austin Designs, a proud sponsor of the NSRL. And your real car, well, you need to tune up. You need to put those optional parts in there. Zoofab Garage is the place to head. Zoofab Garage, a proud sponsor of the Sandi Paws Street Stocks. And J&G Hardwood Flooring, installation, finishing, and refreshing. Free estimates. It's J&G Hardwood Flooring. And our proud sponsor, Mad Plowing out of Oregon. Whether it's your lawn that needs to be mowed or your driveway that needs to be plowed or your parking lot, Mad Plowing has you covered. Well, we are here in Florida, and we are proud to bring you along with us. We got him in isolation, though, folks, because he is a little under the weather. Our great friend, Kelly Dahl. Kelly, welcome to Pensacola.
Yeah, last week we were at one of your favorite tracks. Now we're at one of mine. I love the Flags Speedway. Always provides some fantastic racing, and hopefully we'll see a couple lines start to form throughout the night. Maybe we'll see some drivers try that high side, but qualifying getting underway. We've got Dan Janjanin and Brandon Elvis. The first cars taken to the track.
Yeah, as they get up to speed, we'll take a look at tonight's race information as we are here. 125 laps, 62.5 miles. And they've had 11 races, and the most wins, well, no surprise, Dante Curtis. Current track record held by Matt Cook with a 17.839. As we look at the point standings coming in tonight, Bryan Hacker back to the top, just 3 points over last week's winner, Scott Austin, here finishing in number 2. And Ryan Johnson, I'll tell you, that top 5 only separated by 21 points as qualifying underway. And Dan Janjanin going to be our first car across the line. And he'll jump out there first here in our Al Speed Shop qualifying session. Janjanin now is Travis Soukup up to the top spot with a 17.99. So just about a tenth off that current track record. Could we see that fail here tonight in the Pensacola 125? Is now Brandon Elvis goes to the top with a 17.84. 17.84. And, well, Kelly, I'm going to say our track record is probably not going to fall here tonight. What do you think?
Yeah, maybe not. With Adam Gable putting down his time at 17.973. We'll see what he gets on his second lap. I think he was a little bit slower there, so seeing as he comes across the line, waiting for the scoring to update, and looks like there was nothing scored there. So seems like he may have had a tap against the wall, which kind of disqualified that time. Now we got Braiden Campbell going third fastest, 17.995.
Next driver up on the Ryan Johnson, going to go 17.93. He jumps to the number 2 spot. Is up next is the rookie of Lewis Flowers. Flowers out on the racetrack in his number 40 as he works down here trying to make it inside that top 8 redraw presented by J&D Farms, which will be coming up a little bit later in our program after Al Speed Shop qualifying is underway. Or is over, I should say. A bunch of now Gary Eschen coming up onto the racetrack in his number 23. Flowers 10th quick on lap number 1. We'll see if lap number 2 is going to be quicker up off of turn number 4. He comes, and Flowers will not go quicker on lap number 2, a little bit slower.
Yeah, Gary Eschen now on his first flying lap. We'll see what that 23 machine can do as he comes off of turn 2. That car looking nice and tidy, so see what he can get on his very first lap here coming off of turn 4. 17.844 is the time to beat for the top time. 17.907, so good enough for second place for Gary Eschen.
Eschen with a good time, 17.90. Looking to beat an 18.3 for a track record. And there it is, a new track record by none other Dylan Connor in car number 90 with an 17.82. And that'll go quick time here. Remember, the old track record was 17. So they proved us wrong once again. It was a 17.839, and they just go an 820.
Guillaume Fortin going to go third fastest with the 17.881. A couple more drivers here coming across the line. Dustin Shepard is up to 5th. Bryan Hacker now up to 3rd with a 17.867. Rodney Huntoon also getting himself into the top 8 for now with a 17.924.
So everyone getting their time in here tonight. As they look to get all situated here. And that looks like it'll do it for qualifying. Robbie Clavey in attendance here, but 30 seconds left in qualifying. So taking a look there, your top 8 going to make it into the J&D Farms redraw. And I believe that's going to be our top 8, Kelly.
Yeah, that looks to be about it. So we'll start gathering up the drivers. The last few seconds here are going to tick down on the qualifying session. Dylan Connor going to take not only the new track record, but also the quick time tonight.
That he is, and congratulations to him on winning tonight's Al Speed Shop Quick Time Award. As you are an RC enthusiast, head on over to Al Speed Shop. He can get you hooked up with anything RC. So we will go right into tonight's weekly redraw presented by J&D Farms. And J&D Farms, well, you don't need to Google it. You don't really need to know much. It's just a crazy race fan that wants to support the NSRL and a legend in doing it. So J&D Farms, your top 8 redraw. We thank them for being that sponsor as the cars will go out for their practice session. We will jump right into the J&D redraw session as Dylan Connor set fast time here tonight, grabs that L Speed Shop fast time award. And Dylan, you got a fast hot rod out there here tonight. What's it going to take to keep it up front?
Well, for one, from not take myself out of these races, I feel like I've took myself out of quite a few, especially last week, just making a dumb move at the end of the race. So yeah, if I can keep myself straight and keep the nose clean and have some there at the end, I think that'll give me a pretty good shot.
Well, you made it into the J&D Farms top 8 redraw once again. You set the fast time, so it's kind of a Russian roulette for you. You can either have your night continue to be good or end up in the back outside the top 8. Just remember, it's all courtesy of J&D Farms. What number would you like here, 1 through 8?
I'm going to go with 5.
5, and Dylan Connor has taken the pole out of the hat on the first draw. So you're going to start right where you qualified. Is this field in trouble here in this 125 lap race?
I mean, I'm feeling pretty good. You know, the way the car drove in practice and qualifying, but like I said, I've taken myself out of these races on pit strategy as well. So if I just got to put it all together and keep the nose clean. Hopefully, I'll be talking to you at the end of the night again.
Well, we wish you the best of luck, and we hope to see you in victory lane or in that top 3 redraw here. Thanks. Good luck here tonight, Dylan, as we move on to our second qualifier, the driver of the number 4, Brandon Elvis.
Yeah, catching up now with Brandon Elvis. Brandon, how's the car feeling at the Five Flags Speedway tonight?
It's getting better and better as the track cools down a little bit. Got a little bit slick earlier when the track rubbered up real bad in practice there, so I kind of look forward to it to trend that same direction. Just management, you know, pit strategy and management. I think we're definitely going to get fuel here, so see how it plays out here.
Well, unfortunately for you, the pole was already taken by Dylan Connor, but we still have a large selection and hopefully a good selection for you here. So anything other than the number 5, what would you like here tonight?
Oh, let's do 7.
Number 7 coming off the board, and you are continuing the trend. So Dylan Connor takes pole. You're going to be starting right alongside him. P2 for you, Brandon.
Heck yeah. We'll take that, man. We drew like 8 the last 3 or 4 times, it feels like. So.
Well, even with that outside starting lane, do you think you're still going to be able to get a good start here tonight?
Yeah, I think the outside will work for a little bit here. It might actually come in later, but it might work good for the first few laps of the run. So we'll see how it goes here on the start. Momentum's going to be kind of key through 1 and 2. So if I can hold them down, get them clear in the first lap or 2, I'll be okay.
All right, well, good luck to you, Brandon. Let's see if you can turn that top 3 starting position into a top 3 finishing position.
All right, thank you.
So Brandon Elvis, he'll be starting second here tonight alongside Dylan Connor.
Well, let's see if the trend continues as we talk to the driver of the number 2, our current high point man. Coming in here tonight, Brian, your top 2 in qualifying have taken the front row away. Can you keep the trend going and you know, pick the 3rd starting spot here tonight?
Probably not. I think he just jinxed me.
Well, probably, but wouldn't it be talking to me without jinxing yourself now, would it?
That's fair.
All right, sir. Well, Pensacola, not one of your favorite tracks, but it's grown on you. You said last week. What's it going to take to put this 2-car in victory lane here tonight?
I think it's going to take some patience. Obviously, it's going to take some speed, but just being there at the end and making the right calls and you know, having enough stuff at the end. This track's notorious for chewing up tires, so you got to have them to make something of it at the end.
Yes, you do. All right, sir. The 5 and the 7 have come off the board. That was your front row. The rest of the numbers are available. What number would you like?
We'll go number 3.
Number 3. Well, you're only going to slide back 1 spot outside row number 2, the starting P4 here tonight.
I'll take it.
All right, sir. We wish you the best of luck here. Good luck here in the 125 lapper.
Thanks, Al.
All right, Bryan Hacker going to start 4th, Kelly. So the trend's still kind of happening going on here. Is next up, we're going to talk to the driver out of Quebec, the driver to 13 QC, Mr. Guillaume Fortin.
Yeah, here now with Guillaume Fortin. And Guillaume, the rubber is looking pretty low on the racetrack here in the corners. Do you think a second lane is going to form at any point here tonight?
Hopefully it does. Usually Five Flag is pretty good with the outside lane, and it's usually fun to drive up there, so hopefully it does, but we're not too much tonight, so it's going to be hard to form a second lane with the rubber.
Well, most of the top half of the field has been taken, but there is still a spot there on the inside of the second row. Your choices here tonight are 1, 2, 4, 6, and 8. What would you like?
I'll go with number 1.
Number 1 coming off the board, and that is going to be inside of row 3. So starting in P5 here for you tonight, Guillaume.
A pretty good starting position in the top 5. Hopefully we can keep the tire on it and make our way up front.
Yeah, hopefully you can make those tires last, and we'll be seeing you at the end of 125 laps. Good luck to you, Guillaume.
Thank you.
So Guillaume Fortin drawing another decent number here. He'll be starting P number 5.
Up next will be the driver of the grabbed the wrong one. The driver of the 89, Mr. Dustin Shepard, gone 5th quick in Al Speed Shop qualifying here tonight at the Flags Speedway. And Dustin, another fast hot rod underneath you. What's it going to take to put it together here?
Timing the cautions and the pit strategy right. Like I said, track position is always key. So many fast guys, so any advantages on pit road or however you play your tire strategies will be beneficial.
All right, sir. Well, the front row has been taken. The 3rd spot is still out there. Numbers to choose from are 2, 4, 6, and 8. What number would you like tonight?
Let's go with 2.
Gonna go with 2. So Mr. Shepard gonna be rolling off outside row number 3, P number 6 for the driver of the 89. Can you get it done from there?
Hope so. Like I said, the outside should roll for a few laps, and then inside will take back over.
All right, sir. Best of luck here tonight. That's Dustin Shepard, driver of the Zoofab Garage 89.
Moving along, we're going to be catching up here with the driver of the number 23, our 6th fastest qualifier here tonight. Gary, how's the track feeling for you tonight?
Seems a little slick now, but not too bad.
All right, well, most of your options are not great. We have the back row, but there's still also 3rd place out there. Your numbers are 4, 6, or 8. What would you like?
Number 4.
Number 4. You're going to be starting on the inside, but it is going to be on that back row. P7 here for you tonight. Do you think the inside line is going to be the good one for the start of this race?
Yeah, I think the inside will be pretty good. Hopefully we can just run a train on the outside and just maintain position all night. Try to stay in the top 5, and hopefully we can be there at the end.
Well, if you can get yourself in the top 3, we'll be talking to you later on tonight. So good luck to you, Gary.
All right, thank you.
So Gary Eschen, he'll be rolling off towards the back in P7.
Qualifying in P7 was the number 12 of Rodney Huntoon, and Rodney inside the J&D Farms top 8 redraw once again this season. Got a good chance at either starting 3rd or 8th here tonight. We'll get the drawing out of the way. You have to choose either the 6 or the 8. What number would you like?
Well, let's take number 8.
All right, well, Huntoon, you are going to be moving yourself up inside row number 2 to start in P3 here tonight. South Boston behind us, looking at the back half of this field. You're going to kick it off right here at 5 Flags. You like 5 Flags, or is this track a struggle bus for you?
This is a difficult track to get around. I never had a good long run here.
Well, we wish you the best of luck here tonight, Rodney. Hopefully we'll be talking to you a little bit later on here tonight. Thank you for coming up and chatting with us with the J&D Farms Top 8 redraw.
Thank you, Al.
All right, Rodney Huntoon going to roll off P number 3, and that's going to put Ryan Johnson in P number 8 where he qualified, Kelly.
Yeah, let's let him know that position here. Catching up now with Ryan Johnson. Ryan, what are you thinking about the track here tonight?
It's 5 Flags. It's a little loose center off, I feel, so far. But it'll be fun to manage that and see what happens.
Well, good news for you. A lot of other drivers are also talking about how it's a little loose here tonight. So hopefully you guys are all able to keep it nice and tidy. So with qualifying in P8, you did not get a choice, and unfortunately these guys didn't leave you a good option here tonight, so you are going to be rolling off in P8. Do you think you can still get it done from back there?
Yeah, I mean, anything can happen. Well, look at last week. We were up in the top 3 or 4, and we got wiped out, unfortunately. So, I mean, anything can happen. We'll hopefully be able to stay out of any casualties this week, and just want another good finish, try and stay in that points run. So we'll see.
Well, 125 laps scheduled for tonight, and we'll see if we'll be talking to you at the end of them. Good luck to you.
Thanks, guys.
Ryan Johnson, our 8th fastest qualifier, will be starting back in P8, and that is the end of our redraw.
Yeah, we would like to thank J&D Farms for being our top 8 redraw sponsor for the North-South Racing League Sandi Paws Rescues Street Stock Series. As last week was the halfway point, just 5 races remain, including tonight's Pensacola 125, and we get ready to go racing in about 20 seconds. The drivers will go in, get a cold sip of water, and then strap in for 125 laps. And only 19 cars signing in here tonight, making the haul down to Pensacola from last week's at South Boston. A lot of cars torn up last week, so it doesn't surprise us to see it. A little less cars, but still a great turnout. We're going to put on a great show for you here tonight for the Street Stock Series. And one of your favorite racetracks, Kelly, one of my favorite racetracks is when I was a driver before, they told me to hang it up, and I listened. And this track, really tricky, really technical. I think that's what makes it a lot of fun to get around as an oval driver. But right now, let's get your starting lineup presented by Sandi Paws Rescue. And it looks like this. Starting on the pole in car number 90, it'll be Dylan Connor, and outside of him, in the Elvis Coleman Racing, will be the number 4 of Brandon Elvis. Defending champion Bryan Hacker will roll off in spot number 4. Into his inside will be the number 12 of Rodney Huntoon. 5th starting spot will be the 13 QC of Guillaume Fortin, and outside of him, car number 89, that is Dustin Shepard. Your 7th starter will be Gary Eschen in the 23, and outside of him will be the Ryan Johnson, number 38, will roll off P number 8. Your 9th starter out of Canada will be Scott Negus, and outside of him, the driver out of Illinois, the number 5 of Scott Austin's. He will actually go into the tail after winning last week's South Boston race. He'll have to start shotgun. Travis Hoefler and Adam Gable will round out your top 6 rows.
Braiden Campbell will then be rolling off in 13th, and to his outside will be Travis Soukup in 14th. Jeff Bergener is going to be another one of those drivers. He was scheduled to be starting in 15th. He'll be moving to the back on an EOL. Chad McLeod will be rolling off in 16th. Dan Jannon out there in 17th, and starting shotgun for the qualifiers will be Lewis Flowers.
Robbie Clavey not making the call here tonight as the field rolls down here in the turns 3 and 4, and they should get the white flag or next time by, as this one is gonna be a good one here tonight. The Pensacola 125, 18 of the finest street stock drivers on the sim, forming up 2x2 behind the iRacing.com official pace truck as they get ready to go battling. I think fuel strategy. We could see green flag pit stops here tonight. Going to come into this one. 40% fuel load. They have unlimited tires in the pits. And just like that, the pace truck down and away to the safe haven of pit road. And Dylan Connor on the loud pedal first. He's underway as the Pensacola 125 is green.
Yeah, Dylan Connor getting a good start. Brandon Elvis trying to hang on the outside. But look at the 12 of Huntoon. He's able to get a good run down the inside there. He's got his nose to the quarter panel to the door now of the 4 of Brandon Elvis. Now coming off of turn 4, they are even up. Coming down the front straightaway, a little bit of a speed advantage for Brandon Elvis, but that high side not quite doing it. Oh, a little bit of a slide for Huntoon, and that may be what Brandon Elvis needs. And that's allowing Bryan Hacker to now try to make a move on the outside, trying to get himself into that top 3.
Yeah, these cars are going to be a little bit skatey on these cold Hoosier Racing tires until they get up to temperature. Then, that, as Dustin Shepard alluded to in the J&T Farms Top 8 redraw, that inside lane is going to be where you want to be. And right now they are stacked up behind Huntoon. Is Guillaume Fortin trying to put a move on him, trying to get underneath him off turn number 4. Can't quite do it that time. Dustin Shepard rolls the outside as they are log jammed up there through turns 1 and 2 and down the back stretch here at the Flags Speedway. And 3 and 4, probably the trickiest part of the racetrack is there is no white line there. You can catch that apron, really upset the race car real early, and that is not fun as you're trying to correct it. And if someone's on the outside, it usually spells disaster for both of you.
Yeah, these drivers trying to save their tires. This track is rough on them, especially that right front, as they will also be leaning on that right rear as these cars are looking a little bit loose here tonight. Seeing a few of them make those wiggles as a few drivers said in the redraw while we were talking to them. These cars are a little loose center off on both of these corners. So, and we're seeing that as well. We're seeing a few wiggles there throughout the middle of the corner as Guillaume actually gets a little bit sideways coming off of turn 4.
Yeah, we are on board with the 13 of Guillaume Fortin as he tries to make a move on Huntoon. Huntoon slides up behind the number 2 of Hacker. Now he looks to go up there, leaves a little bit of daylight down low. Can't quite fill that void though, as now here comes Dustin Shepard. He's trying to get the outside of Fortin, and he's got Gary Eschen, but if he looks in his rearview mirror, that conveyor belt starting to squeeze in as everyone migrating toward the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, I think that 89 of Shepard is the only car stuck on the high side now. Everyone else has found the bottom of the track, and that bottom seems to be the place to be right now. However, we did just see Bryan Hacker complete a pass on the outside, but Guillaume is slowly inching forward there on the bottom lane, and right behind him, Gary Eschen is filling the hole. Oh, big slide a little bit further back in the field. Look to be the 55 of Negus having some trouble off of turn 4. He's able to recover though, but now he is under fire from Scott Austin, who is already making his way up through the field. He's now looking to get himself within the top 10.
Yes, Austin inside the top 10 is last week's feature event winner. Moving up through the field, came into tonight just 3 points behind series point leader Bryan Hacker, and these two drivers on the same team, best of friends. But on the racetrack, the gloves come off as Shepard still on that outside as he's holding tough there, but he get a little bit sideways that time off turn number 4. It's going to allow Eschen to put about a half a car length in front of him, and Shepard on the outside has got a little bit of space between himself and the 5 if he wanted to get down. But the 5 of Austin is starting to fill that hole as Shepard still battling tough on the outside in that 7th position.
Yeah, Ryan Johnson now trying to move himself up into 7th. He's got a nose ahead of Shepard, and Shepard is losing ground. That outside lane is not working. Maybe a little bit later on tonight, that heat will come in on that bottom. There'll be a lot of rubber down there, and that may allow that second lane to come in, but right now it is not there as the 38 moves himself up into 7th, and immediately Dustin Shepard sees some daylight on the bottom. He jumps down in front of Braiden Campbell, takes away the bottom side, and now I believe we are fully single file throughout the field. Bryan Hacker, after getting free from Rodney Huntoon, has chased down our leaders. He is right on the bumper now of Dylan Connor.
Yeah, Dylan Connor got passed just a few laps ago by Brandon Elvis for the race lead. Let's take a look back and see how that pass happened real quick as everybody has single filed it out. Let's take a look at that pass for the race lead. Elvis got to the inside of him into 1 and 2, Kelly, and just drove right around the bottom side, and Elvis took over that spot, and Connor able to get back as we come back to some live pictures. So that's how Elvis got by him, but Connor able to keep right there in tow as the top 3 cars, putting some distance between himself and 4th place running Huntoon. And right now I think everybody kind of in that ride conservation mode, going to try to find out when that first yellow flag might happen. As I say that, Travis Hoefler on the attack is now Scott Negus up on the outside of the speedway, and those competitors smell blood in the water when someone gets up there. Is now 93 of McLeod going to try to fill that hole? Is Scott still stuck on the outside off turn number 2?
Yeah, Travis Hoefler and Jeff Bergener, 2 more of those drivers that started at the back of the field. They're moving their way up as that 55 of Negus goes way up the track to allow Chad McLeod through. Now Dan Janjanin, he's starting to get a little bit closer. He's trying to get his nose in there so that 55 of Negus cannot come down.
The good news for Negus is he is towards the back of the field, and the only car behind him is Flowers. Is everyone about 6 seconds behind race leader of Elvis, Connor, and Hacker, your top 3, as we still watch as Dustin Shepard has fallen back to the 11th spot. Travis Soukup cracking the top 10, and Scott Austin up to the 9th spot, already halfway through the field, just 20 laps in. That's a feat in itself here at Pensacola, where it's very hard to pass, very, very patient. You got to be very disciplined as a driver. and he is doing a good work of it, making his way up inside the top 10 as he looks to chase down the cars in front of him.
Yeah, but we're going to start seeing soon who's been taking care of the tires and who's been using them. If they've been rough on them, those outside tires are going to start heating up very soon and start giving less grip. That's going to allow those that have been nice and gentle with them to start surging through the field. Dylan Connor putting a lot of pressure on Brandon Elvis. He is right on the bumper of that number 4 machine because in his rear view, he's got the 2 of Bryan Hacker, and Hacker has been closing in. He is right on top of the top pair, and now here comes Dylan Connor. He's going to look to the inside of Elvis down into 1 and 2, going to basically try to do what Elvis did to him a few laps prior and see if he can roll that bottom side. Brandon Elvis getting a good run on the top to defend the lead.
Elvis right there, Connor to the inside. They come off a turn number 2. Elvis led at the line. That was a photo finish. Now Bryan Hacker closing in. Will he try to make it 3 wide down the backstretch? He does not. Elvis holding well up on the outside in that Coastal number 4. But the Edelblock number 90 working down low. Dylan Connor trying to get back underneath them. Maybe made that mistake a little bit early, Kelly, but that car very hot to trot. Set the fast time with a new track record here tonight in qualifying, and now looking to retake the race lead here on lap 26 at the line. Elvis is not quite yet. He gets a good run on the outside. Elvis making the outside work here at just 25 laps in, 1/5 mark done of this race already. Don't blink an eye. This one will be over. As Connor down to the inside, might have him this time at the line. He will do so. Dylan Connor goes to the top. Here is Elvis, still not done, charging back on the outside off turn 2.
And just behind them, Guillaume Fortin has gotten underneath Rodney Huntoon, and I'm a little surprised he's making this move because those 2 leaders being side by side, they were running slower laps. This was allowing that tail pack to just get themselves back up towards these leaders, but now Guillaume running underneath Huntoon. Huntoon trying to defend on that outside just like Brandon Elvis is, and these guys running in these 2 pairs, basically holding up everyone else that is using the entirety of the track to try to run fast, clean laps here.
That they are in the top 2 there is really starting to bring this into this group that we're watching. Still single or double filed up. Brandon Elvis not giving up on the outside. And this shows the amount of respect and the ability of these race car drivers that are side by side. Not even making contact, but it is close quarter racing as we're on board with the Sandi Paws Rescue onboard camera, showing how close it is for these drivers, and they are really racing hard out there for the race lead. And so back there for second or for the 4th spot, still side by side. I wish we had 2 cameras, be able to do a side by side box for you folks. We're trying to get that action all there. Scott Austin on the move underneath Braiden Campbell as well. Action all over the Flags Speedway.
And now Gary Eschen starting to look a little impatient. He's gotten a little more pace since he is by himself there and is able to roll that momentum from the white line to the wall, but there is nowhere to go as he's got Huntoon and Fortin in front of him. Brandon Elvis now starting to lose a little bit of ground there to Dylan Connor, and you can see Bryan Hacker, he's immediately on the bumper of that 90 car. He's going to try to fill the gap, try to follow Connor through and get past Elvis at the same time.
Trying to do so as he is trying to make a move. And he's starting to diamond that corner, getting a good run up off of the corner, and that Connor now about clears the forward, but Elvis charges back on the outside, trying to make something happen up off of turn number 2. And I'm not going to lie to you, Kelly, I'm quite impressed in how well that outside lane has held on there for the 4 of Elvis, but that car starting to get a little bit loose. Gotta wonder if he's starting to overheat that right rear tire as Bryan Hacker moves underneath him. He might be able to slide into that 3rd spot, cool those tires off, and come back on the attack.
Yeah, you also have to wonder how much extra work that they did in just wearing them off there, as mentioned, side by side, they don't have the full track. They've got to press the tires just a little bit more, but that top 3 now back into single file. However, behind them, there is still a battle for 4th place. Huntoon still holding strong on the outside. He is not allowing Fortin through. And 33 of Campbell, he's seeing how that outside line can defend, and he is using that to his advantage as well, as he is holding off Scott Austin, as Austin really has nowhere to go. Even if he has a good run, he's got those other 3 cars in front of him basically stacking up his lane.
And they are still there side by side, and now Fortin a little bit loose. Scott Austin working underneath Campbell. Campbell might be the outside, might be the lane to be in as that inside lane starts to get overheated. Ryan Johnson trying to look to the inside on Gary Eschen. Eschen unable to do anything there as these drivers are all stacked up 40 laps in. Patience are going to start to run thin. When do you start? Would you start laying the bumper, Kelly, if you're one of these drivers feeling the pressure from behind?
It's a little early for that, but it looks like Ryan Johnson is trying to find a way through the bottom, but he catches the apron coming off of 4, and that's going to cause Scott Austin to get right up against him. But that 38 of Johnson, he defends the inside and came into the corner really tight. And look at the run Eschen got off of 2. He was running with a full head of steam down the back straightaway, but had nowhere to go. Ended up just giving Guillaume just maybe a little bit of a tap there right before turn 3, and now he's doing the same down towards turn 1. He's trying to just get that 13 car moving as, bit of a stack up there is going to catch out the 38. He's going to get slung back a little bit, and that actually is going to allow the 33 of Campbell to go through on the high side.
Meanwhile, back up at the front of this one, Bryan Hacker got underneath the 90 off turn number 4. Hacker trying to become our 3rd different leader here tonight in the Pensacola 125 as he works up underneath the 90 of Connor. Connor on the outside. Bryan Hacker gets a good drive off the corner. He's going to lead it at the line, making it our 3rd lead change of the afternoon here at the Flags Speedway. But the outside lane, that momentum really carries it down the backstretch into turn number 3. Hacker down low. Connor to the outside, running the top rung of the ladder. Can he make it stick? Connor not done yet. Is now Robbie Clevey able to come off of pit road.
As these drivers are rolling around, the track has heated up since the start of the race. I've seen the air temperature go down, but I've seen the track temperature go up by 9 degrees Fahrenheit. And that is really what's causing these drivers to have to switch the lines up, as Hacker is able to get clear of Connor, but now Connor gets himself underneath the 2 of Hacker there going into 1 and 2. So Connor not wanting to give up the race lead just yet. He's coming back on the counter attack, basically crossed up Hacker coming down the front straightaway. And now coming across the line, they are close. Hacker just ahead by a nose, 0.044. So what timing and scoring shows as they cross the line, and each time coming off the corner, Dylan Connor is just a little bit closer to the front bumper.
That is Connor down to the inside. Will he lead this lap at the line? Nope, Bryan Hacker did. Elvis back there in that 3rd spot, and then it's a gaggle of cars still battling it out. Guillaume Fortin has dropped back to the 9th spot as we watch this battle for the race lead. A little bit of contact that time in the turn 3. Hacker up the racetrack. Gets a good run up off the corner though, but Connor going to retake that race lead here on lap 48. Connor down low, painting the white paint around the bottom of turns 1 and 2. Gets a good drive down the backstretch, and Bryan Hacker running it outside, has room to get down to the inside if he wanted to, but Hacker wants to lead some laps. 50 laps in already here in the Pensacola 125. This one going by quickly, and these drivers hanging it all out. But we do know that a pit stop is going to have to come into play at some point. When will these drivers start to making it to pit road as we enter or close in on that halfway point of tonight's main event?
Yeah, 75 laps to go here. Dylan Connor still got his nose just barely ahead of Bryan Hacker, so he is leading laps here at the line, but he has not completely secured the lead just yet. Hacker still fighting back on that high side. Brandon Elvis sitting back a little bit, kind of watching what's going on, maybe trying to save his tires, cool them off a little bit, and get himself ready for an attack a little bit later on. As you mentioned, the pit stops are looming. I'm sure if we were to get a caution now, pretty much everyone would come down, get some fresh right side tires and a full tank of fuel, or at least enough to get them to the end. But as it stands now, it is coming down to those drivers that have been able to make those tires last.
If they have, is he still wants that battle behind them. Ryan Johnson and Scott Austin have gotten around Rodney Huntoon, and they run single file. Then it is Huntoon and I believe Soukup that are battling it out. Is now Huntoon able to get down and get away from the 33 of Campbell. So everyone single filing it out. Even up front, Connor and Bryan Hacker get single file. As I say that, Ryan Johnson and Gary Eschen decided to shake it up, and Johnson to the 4th spot.
Bryan Hacker tried to counterattack there on the front straightaway. He got a good run and tried to get himself back underneath Dylan Connor, but could not quite get there. Connor had enough momentum coming off of turn 4 to defend his line. So now Dylan Connor controlling this race, and he's got a little bit of a gap right now to Bryan Hacker. Hacker's going to have to cool off the tires and try to see where he can build up momentum for another move on the 90 of Connor.
Connor working down off of turn number 4, putting lap 56 into the books. Is 1 lap closer to the halfway point. I think he got to stay out in hopes that there might be a yellow flag, but it's hard to say. We did not get good numbers from the crew chiefs. They all had that little grin on their face, Kelly, as we were walking through the garage area this afternoon after practice happened, our first session, and no one really wanted to give up those numbers on what they could run for about laps on there. But I would assume anywhere between 50 to 70 laps is probably as much as these drivers can go. They're probably already screaming for 4 fresh tires on these street stocks.
Yeah, but with how these pit crews work here on the iRacing service, they will not have a NASCAR crew. It is a much slower tire change here for the street stock, so 4 tires probably not going to be the play to make here tonight. It'll probably have to be limited to just 2, as Bryan Hacker and Dylan Connor really opening up the gap to the rest of the field. Brandon Elvis has completely fallen off from them and has dropped nearly a second back from the bumper of the number 2 car.
Yeah, another driver struggling. We just saw him get loose in 1 and 2 is the 13 of Guillaume Fortin. Fortin up front early on has fallen back to that 14th spot as Travis Hoefler works up underneath Adam Gable. Gable back there. Hoefler down 2 laps, so he's already made a pit stop in that number 1 car. And you can see the speed difference on the racetrack. Last time by 1792 is now Guillaume Fortin heads to pit road. Will that start to force the hand of some of our front runners as these drivers start to hit pit road here on lap 61?
Yeah, we see Adam Gable coming down as well. Meanwhile, Ryan Johnson and Gary Eschen have both moved themselves past the 4 of Brandon Elvis. And we're seeing these drivers that have come down to pit road have gone down a lap before they even get into their box. That's just how long and slow this pit road is here at the Flags Speedway. So it is going to be a very risky call, because if a caution were to come out now, they would completely trap those guys a lap down. Dylan Connor, he's really opening up the gap to Bryan Hacker. It's nearly actually it is over half a second now. Oh, and the caution is going to come out. So unfortunate for 410, Hoefler and Gable. They will be trapped multiple laps down. We're going to see what our caution is for here.
It is hard to say. But our first yellow flag being brought to us by Mad Plowing. And Mad Plowing is your go-to landscaping company in Oregon, Wisconsin, specializing in snow removal during the winter and mowing services all summer long. Whether it's clearing your driveway or keeping your lawn pristine, they've got you covered. Call 608-217-3528 for all your landscaping needs, and we thank them for being our yellow flag sponsor of the season. As everybody coming down pit road, Kelly, I'm not really sure what the yellow flag was for. With the truck saying they're not really sure if they saw what happened.
I saw Jeff Bergener getting tapped by Chad McLeod going into turn 1, turned him sideways. However, he was able to recover, so it was a little bit of a quick trigger finger from the race control, as we have a lot of drivers struggling down pit road. A few of them overshot their boxes, and it's actually going to be Ryan Johnson coming off of pit road first. I think he elected to take 2 tires, while some of these other drivers have taken 4, like Dylan Connor, who has actually dropped all the way back, I think about 5 or 6 spots.
Yeah, Guillaume Fortin actually on the lead lap, Kelly. So somehow managed to stay on the lead lap or get on the lead lap here during our first yellow flag presented by Mad Plowing. Just past the halfway point as everything gets shaken up here. Now Fortin coming back down pit road. That will put him one lap down, I do believe. Janin and Flowers are going to get the wave around. Was that our choose? Looks like our Mad Plowing choose happening right now. I thought we had one more lap before that, but field getting behind the pace truck settled up. Things happen quick here in the NSRL.
And it is now going to be Ryan Johnson and Travis Soukup at the head of this field. Scott Austin going to be right there as well. Dylan Connor, after making that choose cone, electing to take the high side, is able to jump up a couple spots, so he's able to keep himself within the top 5. And like I said, I think he took 4 tires. His stop was about 6 seconds slower than Johnson's. But Johnson was actually, Soukup was actually 4 seconds faster than Johnson, so he gained a ton of spots there under the caution.
That he did, and now the field gonna work behind him and get ready to go. Here once again, the Sandi Paws 125 at the Pensacola Speedway underway as Ryan Johnson jumps out to that early race lead. Is everyone else buying there? How about Scott Austin, last week's winner? Can he go back to back? We are going to find out in just a short period of time.
Dylan Connor dropped back a little bit on that restart in order to find the bottom side, and now he's going to have to try to follow Gary Eschen past Travis Soukup. Soukup trying to maintain the outside lane, but under that caution, we allowed the track to cool off a little bit, and that's going to allow that grip to come back on the inside. Gary Eschen showing the advantage the inside line has as he gets around the 45 of Soukup, and now Dylan Connor going to fill in that gap on the bottom. He's going to try to get himself around and into the 4th spot. A little bit further back, Huntoon stuck on the high side. He slid up a little bit, and that's going to allow Scott Negus to get through on the bottom. And now the 45 of Soukup dropping way back. He's trying to see if he can get in front of the 33 of Campbell, but it gets a little loose off the corner. And now up towards the front of the field, Gary Eschen underneath Scott Austin, moving into 2nd place.
Yeah, Austin got a little bit loose into the corner entry. Up the racetrack he went. Here comes Connor now on the attack. Dylan Connor trying to work underneath the 5, and right now, they went 60-plus laps there, almost 70 laps before our first yellow flag. Do you try to take it easy on these starts, knowing that we got a long green flag run potentially to the end of this one? Hoefler, Gable, and Fortin would like to see a couple quick yellow flags to get back on the lead lap, as they are marred back in 16th, 17th, and 18th, respectively. Crossover move by Scott Austin, though. He's quickly going to get back to that 3 spot underneath the 90 of Connor. Down in the turns 3 and 4. Braiden Campbell showing some speed as now Connor gets into the back of the 5, or 5 got loose, one or the other. These guys raging war, and it is on up at the front of this one. Gary Eschen all over the back side of the 38 of Ryan Johnson.
I think that was just a well-timed move from Connor. He went up a little bit in turn 3 and then came down off of 4, got a good full head of steam right as Austin didn't get the best exit for himself, and that allowed Dylan Connor to get himself alongside the 5 car. Just behind them, though, Bryan Hacker, he's moved himself past Braiden Campbell. He's into the top 5, and he's looking to help his teammate out as he's trying to chase down Dylan Connor. At the front of the field, though, Gary Eschen is all over that rear bumper, the 38, nearly getting into the 38 of Johnson, trying to see if he can move him out of the way and get himself into the 1st position.
On board with Ryan Johnson looking out the back side of Gary Eschen, working here in the front of it, trying to make something happen. Hasn't quite been able to do it. 46 laps to go, a long ways to go here at the Five Flags Speedway. Bryan Hacker underneath Scott Austin. Those two championship rivals out of the same stable. The 5 painting all of the 2's race cars. But they are fierce competitors up onto the racetrack. Campbell right there as well. Soukup doing a good job in that 7th spot. How about Scott Negus? We saw him in trouble early on, falling back. He finds himself inside the top 10. A nice recovery by the 55, Rodney Huntoon, and the 89 of Dustin Shepard, rounding out your top 10.
Got to keep an eye on Gary Eschen. He's putting the pressure on Ryan Johnson, but as he's sitting there biding his time, looking for his opportunity, Dylan Connor has closed up the gap. Now he's on top of Eschen. He's looking for his own move here, so Eschen now starting to feel the pressure. He's going to have to make his move soon, or else Dylan Connor is going to go for him as they come off of turn 4. It looks like Johnson had a good run down the front straightaway, but there is no space for him to go.
Yeah, Ryan Johnson trying to make it here, but he's got some hot rods behind him, trying to make it into victory lane once again this season. Gary Eschen trying to get to victory lane for the first time as he works down the backstretch. Dylan Connor, Bryan Hacker, Scott Austin, your top 5. A little bit deeper in the field, looked like Rodney Huntoon on the attack, and he is Zufab Garage, 89 of Shepard. He tries to go to the bottom floor underneath the 12 of Huntoon. Can he make it stick up off of turn number 2? He cannot. Huntoon able to hold him off for the time being, as they are a good side-by-side battle on the racetrack is right here as they race up the front stretch, door handle to door handle in the turn 1.
Scott Austin just had a big slide off of turn 4, and that allowed Braiden Campbell to get up underneath him. So now Campbell trying to make the move, get himself into the top 5, as we pretty much had the top 6 nose to tail for a second there before Campbell got underneath Austin. As we come down in through 1 and 2, though, those front 4 just completely bumper to bumper, each one looking for a little bit of a run and trying to make a move, but they know if that move does not work out, they'll be losing at least a couple spots, as those other drivers behind them looking for their own opportunity to go for the race lead. Eschen getting practically pushed into turn 1 by Dylan Connor.
Daddy Will now Hacker looking to put the pressure. He looks underneath them, dives it down low. Connor shuffled to the outside. He'll quickly get back in line as he hit the hooks real quick, trying to cross over. Can't do it. Scott Austin holds on over Campbell as they get single filed back out. It is still Ryan Johnson out front. 36 laps to go. Eschen, Hacker, Connor, Austin, Campbell, Soukup, Negus, Shepard, Huntoon, your top 10. How about Lewis Flowers? Saw him at the back of the field holding on to it. One spot outside of a top 10 run right now in that number 40, and it has been a dismal season. It is now the 91 of Gable in trouble. He was sideways, holds on to it. Adam Gable able to hold on to it. The on-time 91 as he sits there back in the 18th spot. He was trying for a caution, hoping for a caution, was unable to get it and did not want to bring it out himself. But that car looks like to be a handful right now as they work here off the corner and into turns 3 and 4. It is still Johnson, Eschen, and now Hacker starting to put pressure to that number 23.
Dustin Shepard under attack from Lewis Flowers. Flowers looking to get himself into the top 10 for the first time here tonight. Started at the back of the field, and he has now found himself within the top 10 as he gets his nose ahead of Dustin Shepard. Front of the field, though, the battle still rages on as Hacker still puts the pressure on Gary Eschen. Dylan Connor, after getting passed by Hacker, has dropped back just a little bit, and it's allowing that 5 of Austin to get a little bit closer.
Yeah, those drivers right there now trying to do theirs. Now Flowers has completed the pass inside the top 10 for the first time tonight, and he is starting to drive away from the 89 of Shepard. Is up front, though, the top 4 cars all nose to tail. Here comes Scott Austin, making a 6-car battle for your race lead. Everyone trying to vie for their position as they work through the corner. Now Eschen up the racetrack. Bryan Hacker up underneath them, trying to root him out of the way as the number 2 of Bryan Hacker trying to get back into that number 2 position with car number 2. Eschen powers back on the outside. That momentum on the outside, hard to beat, but the inside lane has prevailed time and time again here so far tonight. at the Pensacola 125, and here comes Connor. The blood is in the water. These drivers are hard on the wheel.
Yeah, Gary Eschen having to defend on the high side here as he tries to see if he can get anything out of that 23 machine to defend against both Hacker and Connor. Meanwhile, Ryan Johnson wants these guys to keep fighting it out. He is opening up that gap while those guys are battling. He's running nearly a 1/10 of a second faster just because he's able to use the full width of the track. Hacker in that last lap, 18.522. Johnson 18.432. So Johnson wants these guys to keep battling it out so he can keep growing the lead.
And Bryan hits the good line there off the corner, but so did Eschen. The outside lane, very impressive to me late in this stage. Is his next time by, it'll be 25 laps to go. And right now, Johnson, like you said, Kelly, loving this one as they are doubled up behind him. Eschen up the racetrack. He's going to get the momentum up off the corner, but Hacker with the line has the number 2 spot. Connor and Austin. Now Soukup, everybody getting bottlenecked up behind this battle for the number 2 spot between Eschen. Here comes Scott Austin underneath Dylan Connor for the 4th spot. 2x2 racing here at the Flags Speedway with 24 laps to go.
Pensacola, Florida, the home of the Blue Angels, and here at the Flags Speedway, we're getting a little bit of close quarters formation flying, as well as, the 5 and the 90 nearly leaning on each other there going into turn 3. Eschen still defending on the high side over Bryan Hacker, and Ryan Johnson is loving what he is seeing in the rear view. Not only are these guys getting further and further away, they are working their tires more, heating them up, wearing them off, and that is giving more and more of an advantage to that 38 machine. We'll have to see if any of these guys are going to be able to break themselves through and run down Ryan Johnson as the laps continue to tick away. Now running lap 104 of 125.
Yeah, right now they are working it there. Campbell and Soukup trying to figure out, all right, which lane is going to be rolling. Austin, a little bit of contact that time as they lean on each other through the corner. Eschen gets sideways. Contact behind them. Everybody, the gloves are off with 21 to go. Scott Austin rubbed rails with a 90 of Connor. Right in front of them, Hacker and Eschen. The give and take is turning into take now with 20 laps to go. That pay window starting to get greased up, but Eschen powers to the outside. Here comes Connor.
Yeah, Connor hoping that Gary Eschen can find the speed on the high side and hoping that the inside is going to keep heating up. Hacker a few laps ago when he got into Eschen also got loose off of 4. That allowed Eschen to kind of fire back here, and also I think really tore up the tires on the 2 machine. Eschen now gets himself clear. He's going to get down to the bottom in 2nd place, and now he has got the challenge of chasing down Ryan Johnson. It is pretty much a second separating the 38 and the 23. Now Bryan Hacker has to defend from Dylan Connor. Connor's trying to see if he can do what Eschen did and make the pass on the high side. He's pretty much the only car out there, so he should have a lot of grip. There should not be a lot of temperature on that high side of the racetrack.
Should not be there, and the grip should be up there. Is now Connor putting the nose out there. Scott Austin gives up the bottom. He's going to try the outside as well, as that is his championship rival to the inside, the number 2 of Hacker, your current high points man. Just 3 slim points in front of the 5 car of Scott Austin. And Hacker might have used the good on those Hoosier Racing Street Stock tires here with the Sandi Paws Rescue Street Stock Series. Scott Austin working the outside. Connor's got 3 cars advantage now. They'll pull even down the backstretch. Drag race in the turn number 3. Scott Austin rolling the outside here. And if you're watching behind there, that is what you're looking to see. Connor trying to make that 90 as wide as possible. Scott Austin gave him a little bit of a love tap. But Eschen, since getting clear, has starting to close in on your race leader, Johnson. Once again, Austin right to the back bumper of Connor, up off of turn number 4. They have both cleared the number 2 of Bryan Hacker. Now Braiden Campbell trying to figure out which lane he's going to go with. Can Austin make a move on Connor for that 3rd spot? That's where our cameras are peeled, as this is great racing here at the Flags Speedway.
Yeah, Scott Austin putting a lot of pressure on Dylan Connor. He's going to look to the inside now. He has a good run. Now going down to the bottom against the 90, and both of those guys had made the outside line work. Looks like both of them wanted to take the high side there for this next fight, but it is going to be Connor running that 2nd lane, forcing Scott Austin to go down to the bottom. We've seen the bottom side be strong here tonight, but as this race has gone on, that second lane has started to form. Meanwhile, Gary Eschen, he is closing in on Ryan Johnson, just over 10 laps to go. We're going to be 11 at the line this time by, and Gary Eschen only has about half a second separating himself from the race lead.
Yeah, the battle for the number 3 spot still a good one. And right now, Scott Austin trying to be patient to the inside. When do the gloves come off? Do you force the 90 up the racetrack? The 90 trying to keep the 5 down low. You know the grip is up on the outside. Bryan Hacker has migrated there, but here comes Campbell. Campbell to the inside as they work down here as Shepard has gone to pit road with the 89. Is fuel going to come into play here with 10 laps to go?
These guys trying to make it to the end here. Just under 10 to go. Eschen closing in on Johnson. Connor still fighting with Austin. Hacker looking for a way through, while Braiden Campbell has now got himself down to the bottom side. So a 4-way fight for third place now, as we have to keep an eye on that while they are falling further and further back from Eschen, who is now right on top of Ryan Johnson.
Yeah, that battle looking from down high above with our chopper cam here tonight, presented by Austin Designs. As you watch that battle side by side, Eschen is there. He hasn't been to victory lane this season, is chomping at the bit. Can he get it done? 7 to go at the line. Eschen takes a look to the inside. Gary Eschen down low, trying to take the race lead away from Ryan Johnson. They slide up the racetrack. They almost make contact off of turn 2.
Yeah, I thought Eschen had burned up his tires and fighting for second place, but he has closed in on Johnson quickly, and now he is fighting for the race lead. 6 laps to go here as Eschen closes in and gets a little bit closer to the front bumper of that 38 car. Down the back straightaway, the advantage is still to Ryan Johnson, but that time now going into turn 3, Eschen going to get his nose ahead. Can Johnson maintain the pace on the high side? That time in the line, it is going to be Johnson, but 5 laps to go. Which one of these 2 drivers is going to take it?
5 to go as the field flashes by our speed cameras. Johnson back to the nose out front over to 23. Ryan Johnson out front there, leaning on each other off the corner. At the line, it was Johnson by about a quarter of a car. Ryan Johnson working it outside. We've seen that outside be very quick. Deeper in the field, but the top 2 still door to door as they wheel the wheel through turns 3 and 4. Ryan Johnson comes off the corner. He'll see 3 laps to go. Eschen doing everything underneath him.
3 to go and nothing separating our 2 leaders here as Johnson continues to lead over Eschen, but it is by a nose each time at the line. Eschen trying to see what else he can get out of those tires, especially that right front. He has been asking a lot from it. Popsicle sticks in the air. 2 to go for Ryan Johnson and Gary Eschen. Which one of these guys can take it to the end?
Will there be contact? Will they rub rounds? Will we have a screeching feature here? The white silk is about to fly the final half mile around Pensacola Speedway. Side by side in the turn number 1. Ryan Johnson rolls it in higher on the outside up the racetrack. Eschen, there's contact off turn number 2. Side by side into turns 3. Eschen with a nose out front. Up off of turn number 4. They're going to come to the line both sideways, and it's Eschen at the line. Gary Eschen by a bumper cap over Ryan Johnson, which may be the closest victory margin in NSRL history here tonight at the Pensacola Flags Speedway.
0.004 is the official margin of victory here, shown on timing and scoring. I do not know how Gary Eschen managed to do that. Looks like a little bit of contact there, both in 2 and 4, may have killed the momentum from Johnson, and that may have been it. They made contact right before the line, and Gary Eschen made it by just a nose. It may have just been an extra layer of the wrap there on the front.
Race of the season. Is it fair to say that?
I mean, it's pretty close. Not only did we have a photo finish for first, that we also had it for pretty much every other position there. As there was Dylan Connor was just ahead of Hacker there coming to the line, but then Hacker and Austin Campbell all right close together.
What a finish. Let's go back. We'll watch that final lap one more time from the viewpoint of our fans here tonight at the Flags Speedway. You see them flash by this fan down here in the entry turns 1 and 2 and in the infield. What a finish. We knew it was going to be good as they came off the corner side by side. Eschen using up the real estate off the corner sideways. Oh, what a finish. I don't know if I've ever seen a closer finish than that. But Gary Eschen going to pick up the win as we will head now down into victory lane for tonight's post-race show. Brought to you by SimRacerHub.com. And Kelly, I can't believe that we just saw that. We are going to talk to Gary. He is ecstatic. He can't get the belts off fast enough. Climbing out of the car for the first time here this season, Gary Eschen, water and beer going flying all over at a photo finish. Gary, we had to go out 4 decimal points to figure out who won that one. Man, talk about that race. How did you save the tires after battling side by side so long with those guys in that last stint?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I thought for sure Hacker was going to get by me, but I just stuck there on the outside, and it ended up paying off. And after that, it was set sail on the leader, and I wasn't sure I was going to catch him, but then I saw I was gaining a 10th like every lap, and I'm like, oh, we can make this a race if we can catch him. So yeah, that was some crazy battling going on there at the end.
I mean, how much fun is that from the driver's seat? You're racing, you guys are some of the best street stock racers out there. We have Ryan Johnson, who has won this season. Now you're going to put your name on that win here this season as well. But being able to race that close, lean on each other, there was some contact here and there, but nothing that really upset the race cars. How much fun is that? And it just shows the amount of respect that you all have for each other out there.
Yeah, me and Ryan we've been racing against each other for quite a few years now. So at one point, we were teammates, and yeah. So I mean, it's always good racing with them. The talent in this league is some of the best out there, if not the best. So we haven't finished a race all season, and finally we finished one, and it's the one we need to finish.
Yes, you finished first, and in good fashion too. I mean, what a finish that was. We were just talking about it. That yellow flag came out just past the halfway point, caught a couple of guys down a lap. But you're able to get that good strategy call there, and you're going to be able to come out of here with this win. Next week, we know what that means for you. Next week as we head down the road to the next one, you're going to have to start shotgun on the field, but this one really has to mean a lot to you.
Yeah, for sure. The season's almost coming to an end here, so hopefully we can take some momentum going into the Winter ARCA series, which I'm not sure. I couldn't even tell you. It's probably been a couple years since I've ran those cars, so that'll be interesting. That's for sure.
Well, the good news is that's going to be fun. We're looking forward to that, watching you guys battle out on some of these tracks that you normally don't get to go to as the short track cars get put up on the jack stands. But this one here going to go down in the record books. Next week, Hickory. Going to have to come from the tail of the field at Hickory. Is that going to be a big challenge?
I don't think so. I usually run pretty good there. It's just whether or not we can keep the nose clean, I guess. Like I said, we haven't finished a race all season until now. What week are we in? 7. So yeah, it's been a rough season, that's for sure.
It'd be a good one, a good bounce back, good little shot in the arm. Maybe you finish out this back half of the season. You got Hickory, Smyrna, Lanier, and then Nashville Fairgrounds. Are those all good tracks for this team?
Yeah. Yep, I think I can win at each and single one of those as long as I can keep these fast guys behind me and qualify good for once. A couple races I qualified 15th, 16th, and I was just off. So it's just good to be back up here in the front again.
Well, congratulations on this win, Gary. Who makes it all possible for you?
We got Auto Land Outlets. We got Rookies Pub, JRS. Let's see who else is on there. DCD. Dante Curtis Designs, always hooking up with sweet paint jobs. Thank God we can finally put one in victory lane for him. Yeah, you guys for putting on broadcasts. I enjoy going back and rewatching each race, whether I finish them or not, I guess. And all the league admins for putting on this league and making this league what it is today.
Well, congratulations, Gary, on a fantastic win, exciting one. We're already lobbying to have every race here at Five Flags.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad at it. Maybe this one in Myrtle Beach and just go back and forth.
It sounds like a plan to us. Those were both fantastic races. Congratulations here tonight. I'm just going to go out and say it's probably the closest victory in NSRL history. Congratulations on tonight's Pensacola 125 victory.
Thank you.
Gary Eshin, tonight's winner, and a little dejected, but a smile on his face, the 38 of Ryan Johnson, and Kelly's standing by with him.
Yeah, here now with Ryan Johnson. Ryan, that was an insane ending to that race. Run us through those last few laps there.
Oh, man. Well, I saw Gary get clear. I think it was Hacker back there, and he started running me down pretty quick, so I was trying to stay calm, not overheat my tires, and he got to me. I think I screwed up one of the corners, and I knew he was going to dive low. And, well, I saw him hold off Hacker, so I'm like, well, I'll try the top, and it seemed like it was working for a little bit, and I think he was able to push me up just a little bit on that last lap, and that was it. That was fun as hell, though. That was awesome racing. Me and Gary have been racing together for a long time now, so I mean, I expected nothing less. We honestly, the whole night, me and him, we were kind of around each other and beating and banging a little bit, moving each other, and it was fun.
Well, Al and I have been trying to convince the admins to just run this track for the rest of the season, but unfortunately, next week we're going to be going to Hickory. What are you expecting there?
Honestly, hoping for some more tonight. There's a lot of room given, but it was a lot of really clean, fun, close, hard racing. So hoping we get some more of that. I mean, our seasons tend to do that. After the first couple races, we'll get a lot of green flags and a lot of really good racing. So hopefully it keeps up, and we can have some more fun, and we'll see how the points shake out this season. And I think it'll be a pretty close one again.
Yeah, speaking of points, you are going to gain a couple this week after finishing ahead of both Hacker and Austin. What are you thinking of your chances here coming into the last few races of the season?
Well, honestly, I think it was 8 points coming into tonight. But with them guys, I mean, honestly, a lot of these guys, you got to be basically perfect to gain 1 or 2 points. So tonight was just a little bit of that. We're going to have to do that the rest of the season, and I don't know. I mean, we'll see what happens. I'm hoping we can get that lead down and have a really close battle. Even if it's 2-3 of us, it don't matter to me as long as it's a good time. So we'll do our best, and hopefully they shake out our way.
Well, Ryan, we're going to give you the floor here now, and who would you like to thank for your second place run here tonight?
Just all the admins putting on NSRL. Been a lot of fun all these seasons. You guys have been the booth for broadcasting, DCD for my paint, my teammates, and all the drivers, everybody tuning in and watching us have some fun.
All right, well, thanks for coming out and talking to us, Ryan, and hopefully we'll be hearing from you next week at Hickory.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you later.
So that was Ryan Johnson, our second place finisher here tonight, second by only 4 thousandths of a second. But Al, I think you're going to be catching up now with our third place finisher.
Yeah, we talked to this man a little bit earlier. He started on the pole and went up and down, came back home with a third place finish after spirited battles all night long. First of all, I know third is probably not where the 90 wanted to finish, but it had to be a lot of fun out there racing with the competition.
Oh man, for sure, it was a blast. I don't. As far as long as I've been in here, this is probably the best race I've been a part of. I mean, it's just side by side, a little bit of door banging here and there, but super respectful racing from everybody. Yeah, that was an absolute blast.
Now, Kelly and I have lobbied to try to get every race to be here for the remainder of the season. So we'll let you know if that works out. But scheduled to go to Hickory next week. But we'll see what happens. We're lobbying hard. This race, man, had it all. We guys went green all there. How close were you to having to make green flag pit stops? We had a few drivers have to come down pit road before that yellow flag came out. Were you guys close on fuel at that point?
Yeah, I was keeping an eye on it when we got to around lap 60 because I knew it originally said somewhere between 84, 85 laps, and I had about 17 laps to spare when that caution came out. So definitely within another 10 laps, so we would have been looking to, play some strategy there. When you get in a 10-lap window of, green flag pit stops, you can kind of short pit and kind of try to beat some guys off. So yeah, we weren't far at all from that coming into play.
Well, it really shook it up. Kind of made it a whole different race in a good way. I mean, this one was a lot of fun to call. I was out of the seat, through the back wall, the chair went. It just was an incredible race watching you guys go from high side to low side and back and forth, and to make it all happen and really everyone, like you said, leaning and banging on each other and everyone keeping it straight just shows the amount of talent in this league and the amount of respect that y'all have for each other.
Yeah, for sure. It's just, like I said, I couldn't ask for a better group of guys to race with in here. And just, yeah, I kind of hurt myself once again a little bit on pit road. We were solid the first half of the race. I know clean air helped a bunch, but really happy with the balance of the car the first half of the race. And then when I kind of got pinched back there in traffic, it just kind of hindered it a little bit. But the way that my past few races have been going, I'll take this podium all day long.
Absolutely. And you're going to head up to Hickory Motor Speedway next week. You like that racetrack? That's a little bit unique racetrack, just like here tonight. Yeah, I like it. I'm kind of a big fan of the kind of old wore out tracks. So, you kind of have a little bit of tire wear to come into play. It's a little bit like that here, but especially at a place like Hickory when it's real rough and bumpy, I think you can kind of, buy your time and sit there and save your stuff to really show what you got at the end. Well, good finish here. New track record to start the night off. Going to come home with a podium. Not too much to shake a stick at here tonight. Who makes it all possible for this 90 car to be here in the podium and the post-race show presented by SimRacerHub.com? Oh, yeah, for sure. I just got to thank all my main sponsors, Purrier Race Parts, Chris and Alan Purrier with Coldwell Banker Elite, my family and friends for supporting me and watching me on Monday nights, my dad for all the help with spotting and everything like that, and got to give a big thanks to you guys for giving us a great broadcast to go back and watch. Well, thank you for the kind words. It's all Kelly. We all know that. So we can't thank Kelly enough for everything he does for us. But congratulations on this number 90 for getting on the podium. Hopefully a couple rungs higher next week at Hickory. But in 1 week's time, we'll see you then, buddy. Best of luck. Keep it wheels down, will you? Yes, sir. Thank you. Dylan Connor going to come home in P number 3, and that'll be a wrap on tonight's post-race show presented by SimRacerHub.com, the place where leagues keep it organized. From schedules and rosters to points, stats, and standings, SimRacer Hub makes running a league simple so drivers can focus on racing. If you're looking to track your league the easy way, check out SimRacerHub.com, the official post-race show of the North-South Racing League. And Kelly, I think this one is going to be talked about and talked about and then talked about, as Gary Eschen picks up the win in dramatic fashion. .004. Both you and I both wrote him off. Didn't think he had a chance after racing side by side as hard as he was.
Yeah, he was a second back. I thought he had burned up his tires just trying to get around Hacker and Connor, but somehow Gary Eschen not only runs down Ryan Johnson, gets to his inside, and we had seen that by that point the outside line had become the stronger line, and each time at the line it had been Ryan Johnson still leading by just a nose. But on that last lap, Gary Eschen managed to kill the momentum of that outside lane and managed to beat Ryan Johnson to the line by just a blink of an eye. So that really is going to be the high watermark of this whole year for this league. There is no way we're going to be able to top this race.
I don't think so, but next week we will give it a shot as we head to the Hickory Motor Speedway. You can see where your favorite drivers finished here tonight as their unofficial feature results are posted. And like I said, go back, watch this one over. I know I'm going to have to go back and watch that one over. Unbelievable finish here tonight at the Flags Speedway in the Pensacola 125. Kelly, thank you for making the travel down. I know you're under the weather. We hope you feel better. Get rested up. Everyone out there, stay safe. And thank you for watching tonight's broadcast here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. We couldn't do it at all without the great sponsors of the North-South Racing League, and that was being presented by Sandi Paws Rescue, RC2 Promotions, and RC2 Graphics, Wizards Designs, Austin Designs, Zoofab Garage, J&G Hardwood Flooring, and Mad Plowing, proud sponsors of tonight's race, along with SimRacerHub.com and Al's Speed Shop. On behalf of everyone from the NSRL, thank you for watching the Turn 3 Racing Network. I am Upstate Al. Good night, everybody.